I hand it over to you, I'll make a brief introduction about Hari. I mean, I personally know Hari Lanka for last 15 years. He was my student also. I am proud to say that we were also part of his gurus. And now he is our guru. So let me. Mr. Hari Lanka is currently working as Associate Director, Security Technologies. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
He has overall 25 years of work experience and all this in IT and ITES related industry. He started his career as in Cyient when it was Infotech Enterprises. And Prakash Rao Garu was consulting for them. He is also there right now, and he was associated with Infotech in the very early stages. And after that, Hari worked with Navionics for some time. Then he moved to process implementation area from GIS, and he worked with Accentric, GUI Information Solutions, and then Cyient again as Business Excellence Group. And he had hands-on experience in implementing all the ISO standards. He named it, and he was part of implementation of that. ISO 9001, ISO 27001, ISO 45001, ISO 14001, ISO 22163, ISO 13485. I'm sure most, at least I am not aware of all those standards. I know about information security and quality and probably environmental standards, but there are many more. And he is a champion of all of them. And he was also part of CMMI development and service quality processes implementation, as well as part of auditee or lead auditor kind of activity. Today, and of course, though it is not mentioned here, he is also a Six Sigma black belt. He is talking about bizSAFE today, social value quality mark, and he also knows about GDPR. He was a member of SPIN for the last 15-16 years. And over and above all of these, he will talk about the subject himself. I will not introduce what is bizSAFE. But over and above all these, he is a very advent follower of Sanatana Dharma. He feels Satyameva Jayate, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha, all these kinds of things. And he is such a nice, pious gentleman. Over to Hari Lanka.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, I just shared the presentation. Hope team is able to see the screen, right?
Yes, we are able to see.
Okay. Yeah. So today the knowledge sharing is on bizSAFE. Most of us are well aware of the occupational health and safety management system, right? So similar to that, in Singapore, they have identified some safety framework. They call it as a bizSAFE. There are a lot of similarities between occupational health and safety standard versus the bizSAFE. I try to cover what is bizSAFE, and then how do we achieve it? What are the various levels in terms of the safety progress, and what are some of the mandatory documents or system procedures that are required as part of the accreditation, and to give some overview of what are those hazards, and then how do we implement the hierarchy control systems and some of the legal requirements, how do we perform the risk management with respect to the bizSAFE, what is the incident reporting mechanism and associated legal requirements with respect to the incident management, and say SG Secure. This is one of the important element in bizSAFE implementation. If someone is really interested to go for a certification, right? So because we are all operating globally today, maybe our headquarters might be in India, but we might be having our delivery centers across the regions. This certification roadmap step will really help people to understand, explore, to get bizSAFE certification for their own organizations. What are the benefits by implementing this particular system within the organization? Finally, Q&A. This is how I put the agenda together. So I'm little nervous today because I could see all my gurus in front of gurus. I'm trying to preach something. So if there are any mistakes, please forgive me, and also add your voice, Gandhi Garu or Prakash Garu, because you might have implemented health and safety systems largely across the industries. I'm trying to call out some of the implementation experiences, some of the real-time examples that I come across during the implementation in our organization. So, yeah. bizSAFE is it's a nationally recognized safety program that is recognized by Singapore government. So it is called as work safety and health capabilities that are identified. There is a Ministry of Manpower is a government organization which oversee the entire organization's health and safety related matters. So they have identified a common framework which will help organizations to better position and take care of health and safety related matters within the organizations, so that organizations will better benefit to avoid any workplace incidents or any kind of fatalities. So with that approach, the Ministry of Manpower started a framework in 2007 nationwide. The basic principles of this particular system is to reduce the risks at source and try to increase the industry stakeholders' ownerships and achieving the more safer workplaces, and also increase the compliance toward the various legal and regulatory requirements, which can help organizations to avoid workplace incidents, right? So companies use this bizSAFE as a structured approach because this has a step-by-step implementation approach, which helps organizations in a systematic way in first attaining the trainings, then defining the procedures, then implementing the procedures, verifying internal audits through the effectiveness of the implementation of the system through internal audits, and then there is an external audits. That's how it has a systematic approach in terms of implementing this particular standard. Like you have CMMI level 5, right? So there is 5-level maturity processes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you have a lot of process improvements that organization will be benefited with, right? So similarly, bizSAFE also has 5 levels of safety maturity, and every level has a standard requirements. And once you attain that particular requirement, approach the bizSAFE committee. There is a website where you need to apply the documentation, and your organization will be certified. So let us see in further slide what is it. So who can apply for bizSAFE? All right. So any organization who is registered in Singapore, right? So that particular organization can apply for bizSAFE. However, if your main organization is Singapore and then your subsidiary is in India, or your main organization, your corporate organization is in India or any other geography, and you have your delivery center back in Singapore, so you are free to apply for both foreign entity and also for Singapore entity. So there is a list of pool of auditors, like how we call it as lead auditors in ISO framework, or CMMI appraisers in CMMI framework. Similarly, bizSAFE also has a list of approved auditors, accredited auditing organization, AAO it's called it as. So there is a list of people available, and this is all available in the Ministry of Manpower website. So we can get in touch with the authorized auditors, and then auditors will come and then visit the overseas area and then do a workplace inspection and then issue a certificate. So this is what who can apply the certificate. So there is no geography boundary limitations. Organizations are encouraged across the globe to implement this particular safety management system. So this is a 5 step process, as I mentioned. The first step, any organization, any management system implementation, it is equally important. First, you get the top management approach, top management commitment, right? So any kind of new initiatives, it requires effort, it requires investment, it requires a direction, right? So that is where the bizSAFE framework itself starts with the top management commitment. So the bizSAFE level 1 is nothing but a half-day program that the senior leadership have to attend and understand what is the bizSAFE framework, what are the benefits of it, so how it is going to differentiate the workplace culture with respect to the health and safety. So any people who are of director, vice presidents, or any senior designated people are encouraged to attend this particular half-day seminar. And then once they complete the training, they will get a training certificate. So once you receive the certification, so that you need to upload the certificate into the bizSAFE website. So there is a standard format where you apply your level 1 credentials, level 2 credentials, level 3 and 4, and so on. So there is a standard documentation that you need to upload so that your organization will be recognized as bizSAFE level 1. What is the benefit of level 1? Is like understanding more of what are those legal obligations. So every organization runs according to the legal and regulatory requirements. So there are some of the important work health and safety obligations that every organization has to abide with, right? So this will help top management to understand and allow within the organization to make those investments, to identify various designated people, allocate roles and responsibilities, and then do that particular investments towards improving the safety culture within the organization. So that is how bizSAFE level 1 is attained. What is level 2? So level 2 is more of a risk management framework, right? So you need to identify certain managerial people who are like floor managers, right? So these set of people will be undergoing a 2-day training program. So what is this training basically covers about is how do you identify a hazard at workplace? What are your processes? How do you classify a critical processes? How do you identify a risk management approach for your organization? However, there is a standard framework that is defined by the bizSAFE itself. There is a risk management approach that is defined, and organization has to identify, write down the procedures, and then identifying the hazards, implementing that risk management system within the organization. So this is a 2-day course which will enable the managers to understand what is that framework, how to identify the hazards, how to list down the hazards, how to perform the risk assessment, and then implement some of the controls, ensure that the identified risk either completely eliminated. There is a hierarchy control system, right? So elimination, substitution, right? Administrative controls, personal protective equipment, and so on. So this course basically gives a overview of how do you handle the risks with respect to the health and safety. So once this particular 2-day training is completed, the particular attendant, I mean the participant has to take an exam. So after successful clearing of the examination, so the individual will get a certificate saying that you have successfully participated in bizSAFE level 2 training. You are now more of a certified risk management champion, right? So once you receive this particular certificate, again, you need to apply on bizSAFE portal saying that I have attended this particular training on behalf of my company, so that your organization will get the bizSAFE level 2. So level 1 and 2 only gives a kind of training investment to the organization. Once you complete the training, get the certificate, upload into the portal, so that your organization will be certified on bizSAFE level 2. So what is the benefit of 1 and 2 is more of getting the awareness, identifying some of the basic legal requirements, and so on. So when you look at the level 3, it is more of an implementation within the organization. So whatever the knowledge that you have gained uh, during the during the 2-day workshop, so you actually start preparing some of the procedures, right? And within the organization, you start creating that awareness to the larger population of the organization in terms of how to identify a hazard, and then what is the risk assessment, how to report the incidents, right? So what are the work related precautions that they need to take care of, what are the do's, what are the do nots. So you need to really create the culture of, yeah, excuse me. Yeah, sorry. So level 3 is more of implementing all the procedures that are defined in the organization, train the larger audience, all the associates undergo the bizSAFE awareness program, and then they start following the controls that are identified, implemented as per the procedures, right? So there is an independent audit that happens. So bizSAFE level 3, where the Singapore accreditation auditors will come, and then they will inspect your workplace, how the other, like, ISO audits that happens. So similar to that, there will be an on-site audit. They will evaluate your workplace, whether it is like, what are the critical operations that you operate? Is it like high risk zone, low risk zone? And they will also look at various procedures that are developed. They will interview the people who are all those risk committee members, who are all those risk champions, right? They'll also talk to the top management, understand how this particular, bizSAFE implementation roadmap and, the associated implementation effectiveness records and so on, right? So bizSAFE level 3 is more of like, an audit, whereas 1 and 2 is more of attending a training and then submitting the training participant certification into the portal. You get the certificate. So when you look at bizSAFE 4, it is more of like, once you have done the basic risk assessment in the organization, right? So from a risk assessment, you wanted to improve your system, right? So that's where there is a 4-day training course which enables organization to understand more about the health and safety related aspects, more of operational procedures, standard operational procedures, safety procedures, like, all of them pretty much explained in this particular 4-day training course. Once the course is completed, again, you need to upload the certification, participant certification. There is an examination after the 4-day course, and then organization will be awarded bizSAFE level 4. So level 5 is called BizStar. It is the highest level of safety system. So it is more or less once your organization is accreditation to ISO 45001. Let us say if the organization implement occupational health and safety framework, so then it is equally treated as bizSAFE level 5 company. So this is what the 5 steps of the safety management system in bizSAFE framework. I'll take a pause now. Any questions?
There was a chat message by Manjunatha about OHS and bizSAFE, which you have answered just now. bizSAFE is level 5 is equivalent to OHS.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Manjunatha, you have any supplementary questions on that?
Yeah. For bizSAFE level 5, if you want to get for level 5, or we need to go for the assessment as well?
Yeah, no. So once you are at bizSAFE level 3, for level 3 an assessment will happen definitely. Once you are achieved level 3, you cannot go directly for level 5. Suppose, let's say your organization is already maintaining a 45,000 occupational health and safety management system. You are already accredited to 45,001, but you cannot apply for bizSAFE Star directly, because first of all, management should understand what is this framework, bizSAFE framework, legal obligations, then they need to understand the framework has to be aligned with the bizSAFE risk management framework. Then you need to apply for level 2, then level 3. So once you are attained level 3, directly you can apply for level 5. It is only a documentation that you need to upload saying that your accreditation copy that you need to upload. But however, there is a prerequisite, like, suppose if you want, there are a lot of accreditation bodies, right? So there is DAX accreditation, there is an ANA accreditation, but whatever the accreditation company, that should be in line with Singapore guidelines. So whichever is the organization issuing a occupational health and safety certification, so they should have a license with the Singapore accreditation committee. So that is how your certification is recognized, and you can apply. You will get the bizSAFE level 5 or BizStar status for your organization.
Incidentally, if you are planning to cover the audit process towards the end or somewhere in this session, you can say that, okay, this part will be covered there. I'm just giving an idea.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
all.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Thanks, Hari.
Yeah. So level 1, as we speak, this is more of CEOs or top management. They should attend the workshop, apply the certificate. Level 2 is more of risk management champion training. It's a 2-day course. Level 3 is more of conducting a risk assessment and then implementing the particular risk assessment effectively at workplace. There is a approved auditor who would be visiting our place, conducting the assessment. And level 4 is more of attending the workforce on four-day training program on the health management system, safety management system. BizStar is more of like, this is what I was referring to. SSC accreditation certification or 45001. This is what is required. On top of it, you should also have an approved risk management, implementation audit report. That is what I was referring to. So level 3, whatever the level 3 certificate, as part of level 3, you get a external certified audit report saying that your organization is risk management is reviewed, interviews are done, implementation effectiveness is assessed. That is how you get a audit report. So that audit report is also required to get the STAR award. So progressive level. So you cannot straight away apply for level 5 as the question relates to. It is all in a sequential order that we need to go, a step-by-step process that we need to apply. So first, level 1, any certificate that you level 1 to level 2, the status is valid for 6 months. Let us say your top management attended the training today, right, in the month of January. So before June, you need to apply for bizSAFE level 1 status. Suppose after 6 months, if you apply, so this particular the attendance certificate is not valid. You need to secure your level 2 just before you are going to exhaust that 6 months cooling period. So once you, let's say in the month of June, you have applied for level 1. So from that time onwards, another 6 months, you need to apply for level 2. That means you need to send somebody, you need to identify the risk management, champion in the organization. The champion needs to undergo the training, 2-day training. He needs to clear. And from the time of the, course completion, another 6 months is the time frame where they need to upload the certificate onto the portal. So once that is done, so once you get the bizSAFE level 3, this certification is valid for 3 years. Like other quality management system certifications, this is valid for 3 years. And there is no annual surveillance audits. The way ISO, ISMS, any other quality management system certificates require a periodic checks in the form of annual surveillance, but there is no surveillance audit that is required here. This status is renewed after 3 years. If you want to maintain the same bizSAFE level 3, you can reapply. So again, you need to review, update your risk management plans, and an audit will take place after 3 years. Again, you can sustain the bizSAFE level 3. But bizSAFE level 4 is again, once you complete the training, immediately you need to apply for level 4 status. It is also a 6-month time frame that is valid. And once you are attained at level 5, again, Level 5 is also valid for 3 years. After 3 years, again, you need to hire one of the approved auditor. They need to review your risk management framework. They need to certify that this framework, whatever that you have defined, is in line with bizSAFE framework. That's how you can secure your level 5 status. These are the progressive levels. You cannot jump from one to the last, but it is a systematic approach that the model defines to achieve. So there are some standard procedures. Even if you look at, there are some of the mandatory documentation that we need to prepare. Similarly, here some of the documents that we have prepared as part of the certification. These are some of the important documents, irrespective of the complexity, size of the associates. These are all some of the things, because ours is a software company and we don't deal with any of the machinery, any of the manufacturing processes, any of the critical processes. However, when associates are working within the organization, yes, definitely you need to define some of the procedures. What is your office related safety, right? General safety related things. So in case of any emergency, how do you evacuate the floors, right? So there should be a standard procedures that are defined, and people trained on emergency evacuation process, some of the mock drills that are conducted, and you need to maintain some of the records, right? So manual handling. So when people are moving the materials from one place to other, these are some of the things that you need to look at based on the office-based work environment, right? Housekeeping is also important aspect when we are all working in a centralized air conditioner, right? So then people have to respect all the aspects, and they need to follow the safety protocols. Use of personal protective equipment, be it in your kitchen while using micro ovens or any other things. There would be some of the housekeeping personnel cleaning the floors. They might be using some of the equipment, right? So definitely these are all some of the personal protective equipments which are related to the nature of work that you perform, and some of the control on the electrical hazard process, because all the networks and our systems are connected to the electrical equipments, right? So you need to identify what are those basic processes that are required to manage our electrical related hazards, an incident investigation process, right? And transportation, in case if our organization really provides a facility for pickup and drops, right? In that case, and then any kind of lifting and operation related things, whenever you are moving systems or any materials, files from one place to other, heavy files from one place to other, one floor to other floors, and so on, right? So during the the cleaning process, during the maintenance process, how do you manage the ladders, right? So there should be some procedures. And at the same time, how do you react to the terrorist attacks, right? So in case of any pandemics that happens, so your staff must be trained on how do they respond, or how do they react to those particular situations, right? Working at heights. These are some of the mandatory procedures that an organization has to build, because we do not have any capability on this bizSAFE, because it's a different geography. We have taken consultancy services from Bond Intel, is an organization where we have taken the consultancy, and then we started building these procedures. So most of the procedures were already available with us, but every region, geography will have their own regulatory requirements. So it helped us to refine some of the things in line with the regulatory requirements as such. These are some of the hazards. So when we work with most of us work in office based work environment, so people might think, so I have a air conditioner system, I have a desk phone, and then absolutely what is that safety matters that you're talking about, right? So working with computers for longer hours will put you into a kind of chronic problems. If the seating posture is not good, we need to identify some of the hazard related to working with computers, right? So your work environment. So whether it is too much cool is a problem, too much hot, humidity. So what is that acceptable air conditioner temperature that you maintain? What is the lux level of the work environment? There are designated, legal requirements in terms of setting up a workstation. You need to identify and then identify some of the hazard related to the work environment, be it reception area, whether they are secure, ensuring that unauthorized people are not getting to access, right? So right information is made available to allow the people, right? Whenever you have moving objects within the organization, one place to other, because of the project movements or people movements or reorganizing within the organization departments. So how do you ensure that there are no collisions, there are no slips, trips, or any other things? So communication related, particularly people in software, they undergo a lot of stress. This is a common buzzword that we hear. So ensure that you create that awareness to the associates. How do you identify and then manage, minimize these communication related hazards, right? Prepare a standard agenda. So have a planned meeting on calendar, have the common agenda, prepare the related minutes of meetings or whatever the inputs that are ready. And uh, these are some of the things that we identified as part of the hazards. Sometimes people might be staying back and they're working late hours. So in India, it is very easy. You just ask your security guard, so they will open the door. You'll leave on some organization just to put some controls. After 10 p.m., if you are moving out, a cab facility is given. Security guard is accompanied. Ensure that associates are reaching, safely back to the home, particularly for women associates, right? So it's not the case in overseas, right? So they operate in shared work locations, and it is all access is locked by default after 6 p.m. or after standard business hours. If you are staying back, you need to have the after hours activation on your access card so that you can get into the workplace after business hours, right? So these are some of the hazards that you need to think of, and then educate the people how to put the security alarm on or off when you are working on the after the hours. So these are some of the important things that we got to know while doing this particular implementation, right? So when you have the storeroom, so segregation of the things, what are those hazards, keeping some of the standard principles of heavy items are kept in the lower cabinets and lightweighted are kept in the higher cabinets, right? Workplace bullying, the most of the companies by default they'll have some policies in terms of equal employment opportunity, bullying, posh, other policies, which helps people to stay, respect some of the policies, and there is no workplace bullying, right? So when you work with the office equipments, safety is not a common sense. So we need to understand people come from different cultures. We need to think of what are those detailed hazards at workplace, be it using a shudder, using a micro oven, using elevators, right? So all elevators are not of unique, right? So there will be some integrated systems available in a building, right? You press one elevator, it will look for. So certain things are not common sense. So we need to understand every equipment. We need to identify the hazard, list it down, and then communicate to the users. These are all the possible hazards. Be careful. So these are all the work instruction that you need to refer to. So this is how we need to prepare a list of hazards. We also need to explore some of the hazards and any kind of emergency situations, right? So how do you deal with any emergencies, be it leakage of any chemicals on the floor, right? So be it terrorist attack, be it flood, be it earthquake, right? So be it fire accident. So we know that there is a business continuity plans as part of our information security management system, or basic 45,001. We all might have in some or other forms, but it is more or less same. It is not something new. But the important thing from an emergency response perspective, so Singapore expect organization to nominate one person as a representative and then ask them to be part of SG Secure. So SG Secure is nothing but Singapore Secure. National wide, they have identified a safety program. So every organization has to identify a representative and they need to register on a mobile-based application called SD Secure. Any kind of safety related or emergency situation related information is communicated through those particular mobile application to all the SPOCs who are nominated or designated from the organization. So you continue to get a monthly letter across the nation. What are those safety incidents that have happened? What are those pandemics that have occurred? What are the best practices? What are those lessons, right? How do you improve your safety system? How do you refine your emergency evacuation system by considering other, part of the organization who experienced some of the emergency, cases. So that's how you collectively get a lot of knowledge in terms of improvising your emergency, plans time to time. So these are some of the hazards. We need to think from a psychological, right? Mechanical, electrical, chemical, biological, and any other hazards which are related to the specific industry that they work to, right? So you need to also look at some of the categories like armored attackers, vehicles, explosives, chemical or biological agents, and so on. So as an organization, when you do the risk management approach as part of the level 3, you need to think of all these 6 elements and then expand your risk management framework so that you will create much more safer workplace for your own associates. So this is a simple exercise of hazard identification as most of us working in software industry, right? So we just need to look at working with computers. I already spoke about it. So prolonged working hours, this might lead eye strains or fatigue, right? You need to have some of the general activities or some of the operating procedures, right? If you look at the previous slide, I was referring to standard operating procedures. So what are the general office safety processes, right? So you need to encourage people to take minimum breaks at periodic intervals so that they don't stick to their seat for long hours, prolonged hours, right? So adequate lighting, define your procedures. What is the minimum lux level that you need to maintain as per the industry norms, and then carry out workplace inspections, whether the lighting is adequate or inadequate. If there is any issues, so address them immediately so that people won't really get into problems, because poor lighting will also create problems to eye strain or headache and so on, right? So lifting, improper lifting and so on, right? Muscle pains, you need to create some of the safety work instructions whenever you are moving the items from one place to other. Poor seating postures, create some of the campaigns, some of the posters. What we used is like we used to send at least monthly posters on safety awareness. So how do you set up your desk, right? So what are those basic things that you need to follow, ensure that you are not victim of this back pain or wrist pain and so on. And how do you deal with emergency situations? So we take some of the scenarios, and we publicly, we publish these particular posters to all the people, so that a poster itself is very easy to understand than going through a 10-page written operating procedure, right? So that we have followed this procedure by creating some nice posters and then publishing the posters electronically to all the global workforce, so that people can really go through, and it's a kind of awareness among the team members, right? So this is how we create awareness on the hazard identification aspects to the people. And we also followed a hierarchy approach. So we just need to follow the same hierarchy approach that is defined in our 45,001 occupational health and safety framework. It is similar to that. It is nothing new. There is elimination is the topmost thing. So we need to identify if the activity is very critical or highly hazardous related thing, or very danger to perform, so better don't do it. Stop that particular activity and don't do it, right? So if the example what we take, like in a storeroom, definitely the storeroom is meant only to keep all the inventory, right? So if you don't keep all the heavy items in the bottom, suppose if you keep heavy items at the top, while you are picking them up, there is a possibility slips might happen and that might cause injuries, right? So elimination is something like don't keep any heavy items at the top, right? So that's how you can look at. So you can also look at the substitution as other parameter, right? So instead of doing it manually, a man doing it, you can use some of the electronic equipments that you can use, right? So you can use the forklift while human is lifting heavy weights from one place to other, or human cleaning the floor with a jadu pocha. Instead, you can use a vacuum cleaner, right? So that is how you can look at some of the engineering controls that also we can think of, and then we can start implementing the engineering controls by design some of the safety related things. So having some of the guards. So particularly this is related to the manufacturing and other areas. So these particular guards will avoid any incident at workplace. Administrative controls. This is more of creating the awareness, creating the guidelines, standard operating procedures, and then displaying warning symbols or signages at workplace. So these are some of the administrative controls, including the safety awareness trainings, and conducting a toolbox meetings. So particularly people who work on field, right? So those people, before they attempt any of the activity, they look at the surroundings, they start listing down all the hazard, and they discuss what could be the mitigation plans, what kind of tools that they need to use, what is that hierarchy controls that they need to implement to avoid any kind of incidents, right? So these are some of the administrative procedures which helps, right? So what we did is being a computer based office, right? So we don't have any manufacturing related activities within our premises. However, whenever an ACA technician is coming, let's say, so we have developed a process called work permit, where the work permit is thoroughly reviewed, whether the person is competent, whether he is coming with the required equipments, isolating or putting the barricades around the particular place, ensuring that these particular people are allowed when the associates are not there, right? So during the after hours or during the weekend. So some of those administrative controls will also help you to minimize workplace safety incidents, right? So last is the ultimately PPE. If you are not able to implement any one of these hierarchy, but you must perform this particular task, in that case, you need to look for personal protective equipment, right? So these are all the controls that we need to define, and we need to implement in our management system. So look at the legal requirements. There are some of the legal requirements. Workplace Safety Act 2006. This is one of the requirements. Injuries Compensation Act, right? Work construction related regulations. Suppose if you are into that particular industry, and then some of the regulatory factory related acts and so on. So if you look at the triangle, first we need to focus on the legal requirements, and then regulatory requirements, code of practices, and any contractual requirements also. So the bizSAFE program, the important, the beauty of this particular program is the top organizations, be it in manufacturing industry, be it in construction, all these top giants in Singapore are certified for highest maturity level. They have taken a policy that all the subcontractors are at least bizSAFE level 3. So if you are not part of bizSAFE level 3, they will not even qualify you to participate in the tenders. So you need to look at, are there any contractual requirements? If that is the case, you need to follow the code of practices, the policies, or the work instructions given by your customer, right? So you also need to look at these are all the various dimensions when you capture your legal and other requirements. So I'll take a pause now. Any questions?
Just to, Kiran this side. So just to add to Hari, so this is a mandatory program in Singapore, and organizations have to mandatorily, practice this. So any failure to conduct the risk assessment and implement the measures to control or eliminate the hazards will be penalized. Up to 10,000 Singapore dollars if it is the first instance, and if it is in the second instance, the penalty could be to the tune of up to 20,000 Singapore dollars or imprisonment of up to 6 months as well. And this entire bizSAFE program runs on the principle of how you live is dependent on how you work.
Yeah, thank you, Kiran. So this is how the risk management framework I was referring to when you are applying for bizSAFE level 3. You need to prepare a risk management approach. You need to prepare a risk management procedures, right? So you just need to first step is to form the teams. Who are all those risk management champions? Who are all those risk team members? Who is that risk council head? So you need to constitute this hierarchy in terms of the risk management process, right? So the team formation, that is the first step. Once you identify the team members, the expectation is the risk champions, whoever are the champions, they should attend this, level 2 certificate. They need to undergo the 2-day training program organized by, bizSAFE training institutes. You need to go for an external training and then clear the examination, obtain the certification. So if you are not a qualified trainer, I mean, if you are not a qualified person, you are not competent to be nominated or designated as a risk champion, right? So that is the reason if your organization works on complex related activities, very high critical business, then you need to have more champions so that everyone will take care of the system very effectively, and everyone look at from their own department what are those risks, hazards, and they identify the controls to eliminate or minimize safety incidents at workplace. So it is all depends on the composition, depends on the criticality of the business that you do. One, the number of associates and the number of operations that you operate within the organization. That is how you need to form the teams, and then you need to collect the relevant information and list of activities that you perform. The similar way to 45,001, how you identify the process and every activity like cleaning processes, onboarding processes, like then design and development processes. So you need to identify what are those activities that you perform. So you need to list down all the activities, and against every activity, you need to identify what could be the possible hazards. So working with computer is an activity. So what could be the possible hazards? You need to identify the hazards. Then you need to evaluate them. So is it like, minor, major? Is it critical? You need to identify, prioritize, and you need to use the risk control approaches. So once you do that, you need to apply, obtain the management approval, right? So that top management, whoever is the chairing the risk management committee, has to approve the overall risk management approach. The next step is you need to communicate to all the people. This is what the risk assessment, these are all the possible hazards at workplace. These are all the control procedures that you need to follow, right? And internally, you need to perform the audits, whether these particular documents are just prepared for the documentary evidence purpose, or these are implemented true spirit at workshop. So that is how you need to perform the internal audits, right? And you also need to review the risk assessment on a periodic basis. So as long as the work is same, the scope of work is same, there is no change in the machinery, there is no change in the people, there is no, there is no difference. Still, you need to review because the knowledge of an individual might improve, so that there is an opportunity for you to look at your incidents and then try to improve your, risk management approaches, or you can add more hazards based on the near miss that are captured in your organization. So that's what the standard expect. And we need to maintain the records, right? So you just need to keep your documents, ready and ready for auditable purposes. At least there is a legal requirement, minimum 3 to 5 years, that you need to maintain your incident reports and other things. So anything related to the risk management, your training, certifications of your risk champions, right? So you need to minimum maintain for 3 years, because your certification is valid for 3 years. There is no annual surveillance at any given point of time. If bizSAFE Council would like to check, so you should be in a position to show the records. So minimum 3 years that you need to maintain the risk assessment related records. So this is like on a scale of 1 to 5. So this is the standard scale that is used. There is a code of practice on the risk management system. bizSAFE framework is accessible to everybody. We can log on to the website and then we can browse through. This is what the framework that is available on a scale of 1 to 5. You can look at the severity. You can also look at the likelihood. I don't need to specifically read out, but still the combination, how you do the risk assessment, there is a RPN number, risk priority number. Not all hazards are equally important, right? So certain hazards where the priority numbers are high, so you need to focus, you need to implement, you need to do a risk residual risk assessment, right? So whether still there is a possibility of incident to occur. So that is how your risk management should continue to aim to eliminate or to minimize the incident at workplace. So this is what the table that depicts clearly on where to focus. So anything on high risk or the risk acceptance ability is about moderate. So that is where organization should focus, and then try to constantly look at the hierarchy controls, elimination, substitution, engineering, administrative, PPE, and then try to minimize them so that you don't really get into any kind of incident at workplace. So that is how your risk assessment should be. So incident investigation, it is more or less same. The way you do the any information security incident reporting. So similarly, how you do for 45,001, same for bizSAFE also. You need to do a incident. So whenever there is a injury, workplace injury that is reported, immediately you just need to look at. So is it work related? Yes or no? Okay. So if it is a work related, even if it is not work related, still you can investigate. If it is a work related, then you need to look for is it something that you need to notify to the commissioner, right? So there is a legal requirement that any workplace incidents, any fatalities, that must be reported to the council, right? So you just need to look at, once the incident is reported, whether it is a reportable incident or non-reportable incident. If it is a non-reportable incident, still you just need to look at what is that first aid that I should take care of, what is the treatment that is required. You need to take the like photographs, you need to capture some of the evidences, which will really help you to investigate and then maintain the proper documentation. In case of any authorities would like to conduct an audit on the incident investigation process, right? So if there is a injury that is reported, yes, definitely you need to now perform the first aid, and you need to call the ambulance based on the intensity of the incident. However, you just need to take some of the photographs, ensure that what actions that have been initiated to address that particular incident. So you just look at the people who are part of that particular incident, look at the witnesses, interview the witness, understand what is happening, and then try to analyze the information. If required, you just need to submit the reports to your MOM, Ministry of Manpower is the government agency where the reportable incident have to be submitted to them, and then there is an opportunity to claim the compensation as well. Suppose like we have the labor law, so similarly there are also some of the regulatory requirements which will benefit the employee just in case any workplace incident causing constant absenteeism. So that will also help them to claim the compensations, right? So you just need to do the root cause analysis, review your risk management system. As I mentioned, go back to your risk assessment, implement or improve your risk assessment process by including the experience of this particular incident, and review and implement the procedures. So who should report, right? So there is a question always, right? Who should report to the regulatory authorities, right? So employer, workplace, occupier. That means if you are in a tenant, like in a leased building, right? So your building owner can report. Suppose if you are operating in a leased building and something has occurred on the corridor or any other common areas, so definitely the responsibility lies with them, right? So if it is within the boundaries of the organization, employer, right? So if somebody is not reporting and then they go to a doctor directly, and during the interview process, during the investigation process, doctor realizes that it's a workplace related, so definitely this has to be reported, right? So when to report? Within 10 days. So you cannot immediately report and then go to the hospital. So that's not the case. So definitely first step is to rescue the victim, provide necessary health and safety guidance, and within the 10 days from the date of incident occurs, you just need to report to the respective MOM teams. So there is a relevant legislation also expect that we need to follow the incident reporting guidelines and work injury compensation regulations and so on, that comes into act when there is any workplace fatality or permanent disability related injuries that have happened. So touch wood, in software related industries it is not, but definitely in a manufacturing or high risk related companies, this might so particularly if you look at the construction, people might be working at heights, people might be working with a lot of equipments, so people might are exposed at higher noise at workplace, right? So there are possibilities, but these are all the code of practice that helps organization to comply with regulatory or legal requirements in incident reporting. So what to report? Definitely there is any occupational related incident where the associate is hospitalized, right? And death, fatality, any occupational diseases that needs to be reported. That can be reported directly by an employer, right? So any employee fatality during the workplace because of the works and all, so it is within 10 days that we need to report. Self-employed person or member of public people, right? So even these people are also needs to be reported, right? So if you are a self-employed and then something has happened, so people can report saying that this is what the fatality, or this is what the incident that has happened, right? So this is what the legal requirement with respect to the incident reporting. So as Kiran mentioned, so if you fail to report as a first time, there will be a $5,000 fee is penalized, okay, charged to the organization as a first time mistake. If you continue to do, then it will be $10,000 Singapore dollars, or under 6 months imprisonment. So that is how the legal obligations are. So minimum 3 years, an organization has to maintain any incident related reports. It is equally important that you should also maintain your risk management records, like your hazard identification, your risk assessment framework, your risk council, and the records related to the risk management review records. All of them must be maintained for about 3 years from the date of implementation of the system, from the time of incident occurred. These are all the some of the important requirements. So if you look at, there are 43,000, over 43,000 companies that were benefited from bizSAFE today. So initially, when they started in 2007, there are big organizations, particularly few industries who are construction, which is high risk zone companies. They started implementing. Once they see there is a lot of employee moral, because you started complying with the local legal requirements, and at the same time you are trying to tell the people what is safe, what is unsafe. You are trying to develop some of the operational procedures. You are allowing the people to use the personal protective equipments. You are proactively training the people on how to be safe, correct? So all these things definitely help people to increase the employee moral, and also reduce their insurance covers, right? The amount of money that they invest on insurance related to the individual insurance claims will definitely come down, and the reputation of the organization will improve. So once few companies have seen the significant benefits of this particular model, so they started enforcing all their subcontractors as a mandatory criteria in terms of the chain of system, right? So in the business chain, they started encouraging their subcontractors, you at least certify yourself for bizSAFE level 3. And the government also started encouraging organizations to go for this particular bizSAFE certification. And any organization, let us say if your top management or your secondary layer is attending a bizSAFE risk management training, so definitely there is a program where you can apply for some subsidy. So government is also giving some subsidies to the organizations. So once you attend the training, you can claim some of the training fee as a kind of refund, right? So that's how government is also encouraging organizations to go and then attain this particular certification, attain the awareness on safety from a larger interest of the nation, right? That is one. So benefits, if you look at complying the risk management regulations, will always keep your organization in a good shape, definitely. So there is a increased business competitive advantage. Many companies in Singapore today, if you look at, believe me, even we also is one of the subcontractor, in terms of the providing the testing services to one of the prestigious client in Singapore. The requirement is minimum you should be at bizSAFE level 3. So that is how even software companies are also emphasizing more and encouraging their partners, their other organization and their subcontractors to get certified and then get benefit of, right? So better corporate branding. Any company that is certified on bizSAFE, there is a website. The Ministry of Manpower created a website. In that website, your organization credentials are pretty much documented. The basic profile of your organization, there is a standard format. Once you apply for level 3, you need to give the basic organizational details. So this is accessible across the people. So there are contractors who are there. So all these people will definitely go through this particular website and they can see the list of service offerings that you do, right? So you definitely get a better corporate branding. You can use bizSAFE logo in your visiting cards, your corporate collaterals, and you can also put it on your website, right? Safe and health workplace, so that associates feel happy. Free advertisement services, that's what I was referring to. On-site workplace assistance program, you can register yourself in SG Secure. You will get the I think somebody is speaking.
It's yours.
So on-site assistance also you get, because once you register yourself for safety, the SG Secure, Singapore Secure. So definitely you continue to get the awareness on safety related matters, and you get monthly newsletter on the national level safety best practices or improvements. You are also encouraged to attend some of the seminars so that your knowledge will improve, right? So then definitely special invites to conventions and forums. So very recently, bizSAFE also started, declaring the efforts. So they look at the organizations, the effectiveness of the implementation. They have defined the criteria under various parameters. They started encouraging to have a competitive spirit in implementing the safety management system. They started asking organizations to submit the data so that the committee will assess the organization effectiveness of the implementation. So they are going to give bizSAFE Gold partner awards. So these are some of the prestigious things which keeps you very competitive advantage, and also feel proud that you are following the highest safety system standards. So what is this SG Secure? So Singapore Secure, the objective is they have identified terrorist attack could be a national-wide threat. So how do you ensure that the public is protected? There are three important things, right? So when a pandemic that has happened, so first you need to run. You need to escape yourself from the specific place, right? So if you can't escape, definitely you need to protect yourself from the disaster, right? So you need to hide yourself. And at the same time, it is equally important, you need to communicate to the neighbors that there is something going wrong. So don't go to that site, right? So definitely this particular SG Secure is a mobile-based application app that they have developed. And this is directly connected with the national security forces. If there are anything that you sense like some incidents that are going to happen, or if you sense something is fishy, so you can notify to the security agencies through the mobile based application system, so that the security personnel will continue to monitor, give you a kind of constant support on how to escape from the situation, right? So run, hide, tell. So these are the three important aspects of the SG Secure. So as part of your emergency response plan, you need to educate our people on how to escape from your buildings in case of any attacks, terrorist attacks, right? So generally what we do in case of fire, how do you evacuate? So there is an emergency evacuate diagram, there is a pathways, there is a direction, there is a safe assembly area. So in a terrorist attack, there is no safe assembly area. So all the people can be targeted at once, right? So you need to create that social awareness among the people. How do you take care of yourself in such scenarios, right? So first, run, hide, tell. These are all the simple things, and the communities are also greatly benefited with this social platform. And definitely 1999 is a number where people can ring up and then seek further assistance to evacuate in case of any emergency situations. So so this is what in summary level 1, it's the certification upload. It's only a training, there is no implementation. Level 2 is also there is no implementation, it is only a training, just upload the certification. Level 3 is defining the framework, implementation, and then upload the certifications onto the portal. An independent auditor will visit your organization, conduct an on-site audit, talk to the people, review the documentation, assess the effectiveness of implementation through some of the questions, and then they give you an audit report. You need to upload the audit report onto the portal so that you will get the level 3. Level 3 is valid for 3 years. Level 4 is again a training cost, and level 5 is more of 45,001 accreditation along with your risk management report. Let us say your risk management level 3 risk audit is completed 6 months back, and if you are applying for level 5, again you need to conduct one more a risk assessment audit by accreditation auditor, and then you need to upload your revised risk assessment audit report and your occupational health and safety accreditation. That's how you'll get the level 5 status or BIG star status. So this is what the roadmap. It is a progressive level. You cannot directly apply for level 5. It is mandatory that top management has to attend that sessions so that you'll get the buy-in. So the first time, I was saying like any initiative, top-down approach, the top management believes that this is going to add value. They should understand what are the legal obligations and the larger benefits of this particular system. That's how level 1, level 2, 3, and 4, and so on. This is what the roadmap. So it took almost 1 year for us to get to level 3. So initially, our top management, one of the senior vice president from a corporate services, attended the level 1 program along with our quality head, and then we took some time, and then we have attended that 2-day training program. After that, we started building all the procedures. We started implementing things. We started training the people, and then we applied for level 3. So now, considering the current business needs, we thought level 3 is good enough for us, considering the number of people and other associated needs. So definitely, people who are interested can implement 45,001 and then apply for level 5. So how you have the 45,001 the quality policy? So similarly, you need to develop the workplace health and safety policy. So if you have already a 45,001 management system, you don't need to define anything, but only thing is you just need to refine certain elements, ensure that the bizSAFE legal and other requirements. So particularly if you look at any of our quality management system does not talk about terror threats and other things, because as I mentioned, the Singapore, they have identified national level threat could be these particular terrorists. So this is important that you also include, and you also include SG secure related Singapore secure related things in your policy, right? So the top management, this is how the risk management organization, there is a top management. I was saying like the representative from the top management should be chairing the risk committee, and there is a champion. If you have multiple divisions within the organization, let's say if you are a manufacturing organization, if you are a construction, you can have multiple risk champions representing different functions. You can have that way. As we have less number of people, we decided to have one risk management champion and designated risk members from each of the sub functions. So that's how you can collate all the teams related information to refine the risk management process. So this is what the RM audit report. As I mentioned, we have utilized the third-party services accreditation auditor. So they have done the risk assessment. This is how you get the your risk management audit report from a third party. You need to upload this as part of your level 3 status. These are all the certifications, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Just for your quick reference, I just put my organization details here. So these are all the things, top management commitment. I was saying some of the senior people on the risk champion and level 2 certification, right? And then this is our level 3 certification, right? So yeah, that's from the presentation perspective. I'm happy to take questions.
Yeah, Hari, it's a very good presentation. I think very detailed you have covered. But just one question I have, like you talked about this model, and I think OHS also, I think you are saying something similar. But are there any other models which are Like maybe if you might have done comparison also between good best practices or before evaluating this. Or is there any specific reason because it's a Singapore based and you have business in Singapore? Did you pick up that way?
Yeah, so we are already 45,001 certified for our Hyderabad office. There is a contractual requirement that expects us to follow one. Second,
Oh.
though you have the 45,000 framework, it is more or less similar, but the bizSAFE framework itself expect the top management commitment. So they need to undergo the 3-hour session is a mandatory. And you need to identify a dedicated personnel for risk management champion, irrespective of your 45,001 status. They need to undergo the framework. It is more or less similar to 45,001, but still it is more of from a HG secure application registration and stuff like that. So that is how we see these are only few elements of the training requirements. Otherwise, the systems are same.
Okay. Thanks, Harit. Yeah.
Let me step in, Gandhi Garu.
Please go ahead, sir.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
you are.
you're audible, sir.
I want to compliment and thank Hari,
Please.
because I am one person in this group. No, from the day he joined Infotech, 98, 98 Hari.
Yes, sir. 98.
98 he joined. I was the consultant for Infotech. I came to Navionics. I found this man here. So excellent career growth, Hari. I am very glad that you're growing the organization as well as individually. With all this, I find very humble and down to earth. That's important. And second thing is that the excellent presentation by Hari on this topic of bizSAFE. India has got a OHS Gazette 2020 published recently. Government of India published, consult all the acts together. A single act has come into place called OHS Gazette 2020, where all the companies have to follow this framework.
Okay.
And because IT is not that critical, other companies, the government imposes certain commitments of following this, otherwise they will be penalized. At the same time, IT companies need to follow because we are in a different scenario of high-rise buildings, working around the clock, dense people sitting in the same place. So from that point of view, I think we should take it forward and get certified is a secondary thing. Having certain practices of safety and this is very, very critical for the companies. Thank you, Hari.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I will also add a couple of things. I will also add a couple of points. One thing is, Hari, you did a very good job. It was very clear to us what is required, for whom it is applicable, and when do we need it. Second thing is about applicability of safety for IT industry.
Yeah.
Now, physical safety may not be of a very physical safety may not be of very huge importance, but mental safety. We work from morning 10 o'clock to night 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You don't go home. You don't have time for socializing. You have so many other things. That is one problem. Second problem is you sit on a chair and suddenly you get a call. You can't move out. There is no walking. You keep looking at your laptop, and there are associated problems. They also I think form part of safety concerns. So whether we go for level 5 or not is a different thing, but at least understand for whom it is required and inculcate, inform that whatever that is important. I request Abdul to mute himself, please. Abdul, can thank you. Now, so like Hari has very clearly pointed out, there are certain risks and certain impacts. What is applicable for us may be different for somebody else. What is applicable for me is mental health. What is applicable for me is sitting in a chair, and for somebody else it could be a factory atmosphere, it could be a physical hazards and other. So I think we may not look at level 5 or star or something, but at least understand and participate, implement up to level 2, level 3. And management realizes that it is something very important. It's a good observation, good point. Thank you. Anybody wants to say anything, please unmute yourself and say something.
As the organizer, I thank Hari Garu. It was a well-developed, comprehensive presentation. It really covered everything, and I know the amount of time you must have taken to put in the slides. I really appreciate even that. And even without we thinking about whether we should ask this question or that question, everything was covered. Thank you so much. It really gave a lot of detail. We wish to have a lot more sessions from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I still remember when I started my career. So Spin helped me. So I am very proud to say again and again how I am here, why I am here today. So it's all because of the knowledge that I have gained from various speakers. So that is how we have to, that's what I was saying. It is a time where I have to share my knowledge. So thank you, first of all, for accepting these topics and then giving me an opportunity to present this evening. And I continue to share other topics as I mentioned. So absolutely I'm available, and I'm also encouraging my team to give some of the topics. So internally we are discussing what are those important topics that are relevant to the current dynamic changes in the industry. So we will definitely come up and we will jointly host, so that the upcoming talent will definitely make use of. After 10 years, somebody should speak like me, saying that I have learned, I have gained, because .NET, Java, AI, all these things are available outside. Anything related to the process, it is all like Gurukula Vidya. So what I call it as, like, you have to learn from the teachers, and from real-time implementation. You work as a team member. That's how you learn this knowledge. It is not something that you get by reading a book. Process is always like be on the ground, get the makes your hands mud. That's how you get the knowledge. So I'm really happy to reaffirm that got benefited. I was part of Six Sigma course. I think you're also one of the evaluator, Malika Garu. Malika Garu. So I remember that I did the course. I think that's how gradually I've gained a lot of knowledge and benefits from Spin. I think it's the time where I should give it back. I'm happy to contribute to best of my service and knowledge to Spin. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Hari.
Thank you very much.
Kiran
Yeah,
this side. Thank you
before
so much.
ending the meeting, I'm very happy to see there are so many new members. We I'm okay, or we all are okay to listen to your brief introduction if you are willing to. And on behalf of Spin, I invite one and all who are willing to take up a topic and share their experience with all of us. We please take this as a platform to share your experience, knowledge, and wisdom with us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all. So first of all, I would like to go. My name is Abdul Nasir Sheikh. So I works in Signity under process team. So I works under Hari Lanka. So I take care one of the BU. So it's a very good opportunity. Actually, I came. I joined in Signity, so I am feeling very happy under Hari's leadership. So you people actually taking opportunity from Hari Lanka to take these awareness sessions. But however, he is mentoring and coaching every day to all our process team. So it's good opportunity, great opportunity for me to join Signity and also here Hyderabad Spin. So I look forward continuously to attend these Hyderabad Spin conferences and get some more knowledge.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
To some of you who do not know, SPIN conducts these knowledge sharing sessions on third Saturday of every month.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, I mean, in case you are interested in joining these sessions, kindly let us know your mobile number so that we add you to our WhatsApp group. And you can get to know the details of the sessions. Okay. Sir, Gandhi Garu,
Yeah, please.
can we please close the meeting?
Yeah, thank you.
Final
Thank you, Hari, and
Yeah,
thank you,
thank you.
all other participants. And any one of you can attend the sessions. We don't have practically any restriction on online virtual meetings, how many number of people, or advanced registration, or that kind of problem. Only in case of physical meetings where we all meet together, sit together, and there are other things like logistics. We need to arrange for tea, coffee, and lunch, or the place is even the room itself. And we need to know the numbers. We need registrations ahead of time. All that. If it is an online virtual meeting, we'll send an invite. You can even inform your other colleagues, whoever is interested. They are free to join. Okay. Thank you. On this note, I close the meeting. Sincerely, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you. Thanks to all. Thank you.